الحمد لله رب العالمين يا رب. اللهم اجعل أول هذا النهار صلاحا وأوسطه فلاحا وآخره نجاحا. اللهم بلغنا مما يرضيك أعمالنا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله. سيدي أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، صل عليك الله يعلم الهدى، وأشهد أنك بلغت الرسالة وأديت الأمانة ونصحت الأمة وكشفت الغمة وجاهدت لله حق جهاده. عباد الله، يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم تنزيله: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and respected sisters in Islam, I greet you all with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah. We bear witness and we testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we bear witness and we testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger and his slave. All salawats and salams be upon our Prophet, upon his noble family, his righteous companions, and all those who follow his path till the last day. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us in the Holy Quran of different stages that we go through in our lives. You know, sometimes when we are born, we are weak. You know, we're just a baby, we're not even able to help ourselves. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us strength. When you're young, you're full of strength, full of energy. And then after strength comes weakness again when we become old and when our hairs become gray. And this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. And this is very, very important. And that's why I decided to talk today about this very important topic, a category of people that are sitting amongst us today, and those who are elderly. That inshallah all of us one day, we will reach that age, inshallah. You know, reaching an old age, I know that for some people they say, you know, it's not a good thing. Wallahi, it's a good thing. Number one, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you more life, is giving you more time to do good deeds and to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it is very, very important how Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam respected the elderly in Islam. You know, our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if it wasn't for the praying, for the du'as of the elderly people, number one, the faithful youths, the breastfeeding babies and the animals, if it wasn't for these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have been poured down upon you punishment. But because of these groups of people, the mercy that Allah has shown to this group of people, and that's why we are safe. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy upon us as well. But you know, being old, sometimes unless you have someone that lives with you who is old, you don't understand what they go through. You know, it is very important for us to understand that sleeping becomes very difficult. You know, you have to wake up during the night 3-4 times. climbing stairs for those people that have double-story houses. eating and digesting food also becomes very difficult, and also fasting becomes very difficult, and praying becomes difficult. That's why we have some people praying from the chair even today. And this comes with life, my dear brothers and sisters. You know, how many of our parents, you know, their hair become gray, they have lost their teeth, and you know how many doctors they have to see just in one single week. You know, I know people that they have to see doctors every single day because Allah has tested them with certain diseases and illnesses, and they have to see this specialist and that specialist. That shows how difficult is being, you know, elderly. And that's why Islam has respected this category of people. And we have so many hadiths of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that talks about this kind and this category of people. Number one, our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam encouraged us to honor the elderly people. And you remember my generation and your generation. When an elderly person would come inside, we would stand up. And if we are inside the bus or a train or whatever, someone who is older than us comes inside the train, all of us, we would stand up to give the seat to those people. That's how our parents taught us to respect the elderly. But nowadays, if you go in a tram, if you go on a train or all those places, and you see a pregnant woman or an elderly person goes inside, no one even cares. He is standing for hours, and we have our children sitting in those chairs. And whose fault it is, my dear brothers and sisters? It's our fault, because we should educate our children how to respect their parents, number one, their grandparents, number two, especially those who are older than them. And you know, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always make us of those that we respect our parents and those people who are older than us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, part of glorifying Allah is to show respect to three groups of people. Number one is an old Muslim. When you see an old Muslim, it is important for us who are younger to greet him with salam, to shake his hand, and even hug him, and even try to help him. If he's coming inside the mosque and he can't climb those stairs, we should be the ones to help them. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us, and this is part of Islam, to respect an old Muslim, and to ask if he needs anything, if he wants water. But just by greeting him, you know, it means a lot to them. I'm talking about elderly in general, my dear brothers and sisters, and how much Islam emphasized, you know, in the Quran and in the Sunnah to respect those people who are older than you. How about your own parents who are in old age? How about your grandparents? How much do we respect them? How much we pay attention to what they're saying and if they need anything? Those are the grandparents and parents that brought you here, that worked 2 jobs and, you know, night shift and day shift and all those shifts. The time that they could have spent with you as children, so you could have a better life. And now they became older, their hair became gray, their teeth fallen down. And now because they don't work anymore, we don't need them. Now is the time to show our respect to them. And I always mention this. Even the mosques that we have here, and all Albanian mosques and other mosques in Australia, they wouldn't be here without their help. They worked hard. And they are the ones that built the mosque. And may Allah reward all of them, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Our Prophet ﷺ, and we're all getting old slowly. We all have gray hair now. But if you have a gray hair, and if you're a Muslim, that is a blessing for you. That is a blessing. Our Prophet ﷺ said, every Muslim whose hair turns white will get one reward and will be forgiven one sin for every hair that is turned gray. MashaAllah, we have some here, all their hair are gray. But you imagine how many rewards they will get. Don't pluck gray hair. You know, some people, they see one gray hair here, one there, and they want to pluck them. No, leave them there. That is a sign of maturity and sign of wisdom in Islam. And those people who are older, it shows how many things they went through in their lives and how much wisdom their words carry. So it's important to listen to them. All those stories that they tell you, it's not from the books. Those stories are real stories that they live. So it's very important. And it is also important, Islam, when it sees elderly people getting old, and I told you earlier how difficult it is for them to sleep, how difficult it is for them to eat, how difficult it is for them to climb stairs and all those things. And that's why Islam, it's very important that took care of elderly people. You know, a lot of things that we should do as when we are young, we don't have to do when we become old. You know, even fasting, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Those who are quite old, and they have all these difficulties that I mentioned, they're excluded from fasting. They don't have to fast. This is the beautiful Sharia, my dear brothers and sisters. This is how beautiful Islam is. And that's not all. But also they are excluded from fighting. You know, during the time of the Prophet, there used to be a lot of fighting between Muslims and non-Muslims. Those who were older, they didn't have to fight because they didn't have that strength. You remember what I mentioned? I mentioned the whole with the verse of the Quran, how Allah created us weak and then gave us power and strength, and then we became weak again with age. And it's not all, but also those people who don't have good health. Even if they have money, as you know, they don't have to go and perform Hajj themselves. They can appoint someone to do Hajj for them. And this is all from Islam, my dear brothers and sisters, you know. But that's not all. Even the Imam himself, like myself standing in front of you, if I know that someone is not able to hold his wudu, and who is old is not able to sit down for too long, I have to shorten my prayer because of them, out of respect. And this is part of Islam. Imagine how much Islam is respecting this category of people. Our Prophet ﷺ said, whoever leads the prayer amongst you, let them make it light. Let them make it quick. Because amongst the ones you lead are the elderly, the weak, and the sick. How beautiful Islam tells us how to respect those people who are old. SubhanAllah. You don't have to go and check, you know, human rights and rights of the elderly and this and that. Just go back to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, even our Prophet himself, when old people used to come to him, you know how much respect he used to show to them. One old man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "Oh, Ya Rasulullah, I'm very old. I'm not able to memorize a lot. Tell me something very sure that I am able to memorize and stick to it." Prophet understood his situation. He didn't say, go do this and this and this and this, because he was so old. What did he say? قُلْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. For you, is just say La ilaha illallah and stick to that. And he was able to remember that advice. And sometimes the Prophet ﷺ, you know, when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, his father, Abu Quhafa, you know, he wanted to embrace Islam. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is coming with his father to the Prophet so he can embrace Islam. Prophet ﷺ, to show respect for that old man, he said, why did you bring him here? He is old. You should have told me I should have gone to him. Because it doesn't matter whether I'm a prophet or I'm an imam or who I am. He is older than me and I should go to him. And this is our Prophet ﷺ. But sometimes being an imam or being this, sometimes we don't follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ correctly. Even if you're an imam, even if you're a haji, whoever you are, whatever you old. For those people who are older than you, don't wait for them to come to you. Don't wait for them to greet you. We are the ones who should greet them. We are the ones who should show that respect to them. And you know, this is very, very important. My dear brothers and sisters, even at the time of Sahaba, you know, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, every night, especially after the Fajr prayer, he would disappear. And all the companions would say, where's Abu Bakr? Where's he going? And he was the leader of all Muslims. He was a caliph, in charge of all Muslims. He would disappear. One day, his friend, Umar radiallahu ta'ala, said, today I decided to follow him to see where this man is going. And he's following him, he's walking and walking and walking quite a distance. And he saw from far away that Abu Bakr has entered one house. He waited, and then Abu Bakr came out of that house and went back home. Umar wanted to know why Abu Bakr is going inside that house. And Umar went inside the house and knocked on the door. You know who was inside that house? An elderly lady, blind, couldn't see. And Umar asked the lady, who is that person that is coming inside here? And why is he coming every single day? You know what she said? My son, I have never seen him because I am blind. I don't know who he is, but every day he comes to wash the clothes for me. And every day he comes, he brings food for me and prepares the food for the entire day until next day he comes in the morning. This is Islam. This is Islam, my dear. And if Islam talks about ordinary elderly people, how about our own that we have in our own families? This is very important to remember, my dear brothers and sisters, that people who are older than us, they're full of wisdom, and spend time with them. I told you, especially the ones that your grandparents and parents that are old, wallahi, when they're gone, you will miss them and you will miss their wisdom. You know, even Islam goes even beyond all this. And it says, when you're in a group of people with someone who is older than you, you're not allowed to walk in front of them. You're not allowed to walk in front of them out of respect. They are the ones who should lead the way. If you have someone who is older than you and you're about to sit down, you shouldn't sit down before. Let's sit down first. And even eating. And all this is part of Islam. But how much before that, my dear brothers and sisters? And I don't have time to mention all the hadiths that talk about the importance of this category of people. But if you have grandparents or parents who are alive and they are in old age, please look after them, respect them, spend time with them. And always remember that why? Because of them we are here today. You wouldn't be in Australia if your parents didn't come here first. And to come here first, they have to sacrifice, leave the family behind, the land, everything, so their kids could have a better life in this country. Even if they have passed away, always, all you can do is make dua for them. When you give charity, include them in your charity as well. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our parents who are old, and all those who are old, may Allah give them health and long life, Ya Rabbal Alameen. All of them who have passed away, may Allah forgive their shortcomings and grant them the highest place in Jannah, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that will be able to reach that older age, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And make us of those that we're able to respect them, and especially our parents and those people who are older than us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And to make us of those that we're able to educate our children with Islam, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, make us of those that we are able to respect, to advise one another only for your sake, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Make us of those that we are able to feed ourselves and our families with halal and to stay away from haram, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Make us of those that we are able to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ properly, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And make us of those that will be able to drink from the house of the Prophet on the Day of Judgment, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And make us of those who will be the neighbors of the Prophet in Jannah, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ameen, Ameen. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. سيستغفر الله إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.